Hi everyone, I was going to try and get my diorama video up to date, but I haven't finished it, so I thought I would do a book review instead. So my first one is called Hex by Jenny Fagan. You can see that there. And it's quite sad because it's about back in the day when witches were burnt at the stake. So just to read from here, the 4th of December 1591, on this, the last night of her life in a prison cell several floors below Edinburgh's High Street, convicted witch Gellis Duncan receives a mysterious visitor, Iris, who says she comes from the future where women are still persecuted for who they are and what they believe. Now Iris stays with her during those last hours while she's waiting because she's going to be burnt at the stake. And it's really sad because obviously back in those days they thought that it was witchery, but very often it was just women using herbs and their know-how of how to heal people. But yeah, it is really sad. And as I say, Iris stays with her while Gellis recounts what happened to her and how she came to be arrested. So it's a nice book to read, and it is only a short one, but it is sad. But I highly recommend that one. It's got $7.99 on the back, but I did pick this up from eBay. I think it was $3.99 for me. So anyway, so I recommend that one if you are, into witchery and all of that. And then the other one, I think a lot of people know about this one, is The Salt Path by Raina Wynn. And when I read this, I was really sort of impressed. But since then, of course, I don't know if everyone's heard, but she turned out to be not quite as honest as we had first thought, put it that way. It's supposed to be a tale of triumph, of hope over despair, of love over everything. But of course, it turned out that maybe everything she said was not true. But basically, her husband and her walked the coast path, and he was supposed to be ill. It is a lovely book to read, but of course, since I've read it and found out that perhaps maybe she was not so truthful, it might not be such a good book, but it's still, I don't know, it's still a good book to read, and I did enjoy it. But saying, her husband was supposed to be terminally ill, and if that's not true, that's kind of a wicked thing to say. But I'm not exactly advertising it, but it's one of the books that I have read, so I'm just saying that I've read it and it was good, but since then I found out that maybe she wasn't so truthful. Anyway, so my next author is all of these books, and I cannot recommend her highly enough. It is... this is the one I'm reading at the moment. I have read all of these since last summer, and it is Ali McNamara. Now, I cannot say enough about her. She is just an amazing writer. If you are sort of into, I'll read off the back, sort of enchanting, fun and endearing, it is just so lovely. While we were in Spain, I actually read Breakfast at Darcy's, which was 2011, and this was one of her first ones. And she also was the best-selling author of From Notting Hill with Love, Actually. So this was really good, where this Darcy inherits an island from her aunt, and she has to get enough people living on there and working on there in order to inherit the island and all the money that her aunt has left her. And if she doesn't achieve that, she won't get it. But it is an absolutely fantastic story. So I finished reading that one while we were in Spain. And I've only just started reading this one, but it looks good already. It really does. This was this year. So I actually started off, I've managed to find all of these in a charity shop, which was fantastic. Once I found her, I just wanted the whole set. So I started looking in charity shops. So I've got them for like £1 each, was fantastic. But this was from last year. So it actually starts off in 2015. There's one every year. I think there was one year that she's missed. But I read them all in date-wise, all in line. And they're just really fantastic because as you go on and read the books, she will mention the characters from former books, because it's all based down in Cornwall, at a little village that she calls St Felix, but it's actually based down in St Ives, if you know, down in Cornwall. So I'll just read this little bit if I can find it. Yeah, so many of you will know that I base fictional St Felix on St Ives, a small seaside town at the farmost tip of Cornwall. St Ives doesn't have an island off its coast like St Felix has, but if you venture south to Marazion, you will find the tidal island of St Michael's Mount, which, although a little bigger than Aurora, very much inspired my island, which is the one that's in this book. But they're just really enchanting, and they're funny and charming, and yes, they've got sadness as well, but they're just really, really brilliant, and the characters, they're just amazing. And also at the end, she'll tell you why she named people and what their names mean, and why certain things in the stories she's used the names. She'll tell you about the names and why she's used stuff, and it's really, they're just fantastic. They really are, and I can't recommend them enough. So we've got The Little Flower Shop by the Sea. So that was 2015. Letters from Lighthouse Cottage. And then The Summer of Serendipity. Actually, that one is based in Ireland, on the west coast of Ireland, in a little town of Ballykiltara. So yeah, that one's Ireland, but most of them are based down in St Ives. Daisy's Vintage Cornish Camper Van. That one in particular appealed to me because I did have a VW camper, but that's based down there again. And then Secrets and Seashells at Rainbow Bay. So that was lovely. And then Kate and Clara's Curious Cornish Craft Shop. And then Hope and Happiness in Bluebell Wood. In fact, I'm not sure if that one may not be down in the St Felix. I think that one was a slightly different place. And then Cornish Clouds and Silver Lining Skies. But they are all just so lovely, and all the covers, actually, I love all the covers. They're really good. But I can't recommend her highly enough. So yeah, so that's Ali McNamara, and Right Place, Right Time is the one that I'm just started to read, where the lady has inherited an antique shop that her grandparents used to own, and somebody local that has passed insisted on her clearing his house when he passed, and it's then that she meets his grandson to to deal, you know, with everything after he's passed. And then I think the idea was that he wanted them to get together. But I've only just started it, so I'm just surmising at the minute. But it looks really good anyway. So yeah, I can't recommend her highly enough. She's absolutely fantastic. So if you fancy a good old read, Ali McNamara is the one. And I have been, I've been reading these since last summer. And yeah, it's great when she refers back to the characters in the book, and you can just click and you put all two and two together. So yeah, so they're really good. They're brilliant. Yeah, so you know, there's the little flower shop, there's the bakery, there's the sewing shop, and then there's an artist shop, and yeah, the one about the camper. So it's all just interlinked, and yeah, I just found them absolutely brilliant. I really did. So yeah, as I say, that one she's brought out this year. So that's my book review. I hope you liked it. It's the first time I've done it, so if I'm not quite, you know, on top with it, sorry about that. But yeah, no. So if there's any questions, let me know, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye for now.